You've received the minutes of our prior meeting electronically. What are your wishes?
Move approval.
There's a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Joe's not here. If you notice the time difference. Anyone want to shoot a email to him or something?
Again.
Heidi, I had someone approach me about 150th north of Wellsburg.
Okay.
Steve,
Yeah,
ditches are.
Ditches are.
Dangerous that is.
I bet I know who that is.
Yeah,
So
your banker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I talked with him too.
yeah, we
So,
were at
yeah,
the Butler Grundy development.
Jeff,
He was concerned.
good. How you doing? Are you motivated enough to get to the supervisors meeting at 8 o'clock? We're at the sheriff's office. He's gonna put the cuffs on you when you get here. All right, thank you, bye.
Thanks, Mark.
I think, didn't they just clean those out? up there?
Yeah, they did. They just went through over that road.
There's
So,
not much you can do about it.
Yeah,
no, and it does seem awfully steep at first, but
yeah.
it's,
I said, well. Throw up the
So
shoulders.
stay in the middle, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
yeah,
Hollered me after
I think it's a
meeting.
shortcut for.
Why don't we go ahead and
It's a
do
school.
updates on various board and committee meetings? Anybody have anything?
I had nothing.
No, I do. For now, that is.
That's right, you had your busy day.
Thursday, the first meeting was RTC over there in COG. Yeah, RTC was first, okay. We reviewed the financial reports. Both Intercog and RTC are in good financial standing currently. Went over the grants and contracts, human resources. Well, this is the annual board meeting. All right, that's okay too. That was at 11:30. The entire Intercog board meets quarterly. And, we met at 12, which was after the executive meeting, which I should be reporting on first, but we did the same thing. Doesn't make much difference here. Financials are okay, review the grants and contracts. There weren't any human resource updates. COG for next year. They will remain the same as has been the last 2 or 3 years. Membership dues are gonna remain the same at 54 cents per capita. Reviewed the annual report. And Brian has started an employee recognition Citizen of the Year Award again, which I got to be a part of, and we recognized Larry Young, who was former mayor of Shell Rock, who's been on the executive committee just about as long as I have at Intercog. And he was a really good guy, cool guy, good attitude, liked short meetings. So I guess because I was the oldest guy in the room, I got to, along with Brian Schoen, present him with his recognition, and that was pretty cool. He was a good guy. He really appreciated it. He's added a lot to Intercog during his time on the board. So that was a neat thing that happened. And the executive committee met before that. And basically, we just go through everything prior to the entire board meeting at 11 o'clock, so I didn't need to go through that again. And then at 1 o'clock, RTA meeting was held, and Gary Maurer attended that along with me. And, there wasn't anything really earth shaking that took place at that meeting. That's the gathering of the engineers. They discussed their ongoing projects, completed projects, and, talk about, contracts that they've let and how contracts are coming in compared to the last couple of years. A lot of them are lower than what they originally have been the last couple of years, which is a good thing. And that was about it for me.
Okay, segue to Jeff if he's ready to go.
I sure am. I am so sorry. I did not realize the time change.
Thank you.
I think you need to check his speed.
Yeah.
It's not that far of a distance.
It wasn't that much time either.
Well, it depends on whether you came from secondary road or you came from home.
It was secondary.
Thank you.
We took took quotes on for 2 pup trailers that we are in desperately need of.
All right, so, forgive my ignorance.
Okay.
Explain what a pup trailer is.
Pup trailer is the trailer that our rock haulers use to haul rock. It's the additional dump trailer behind our snowplow trucks.
Okay,
Right now we have 4 of them. One is a 1995 and I believe the others are 90. One is an 89 and the others are 95, 3 95s. And we are replacing 2 of them. We're going to potentially either hold on to both of them. So then during rain days, we could have 2 more. So we could have a total of 6 hauling rock. Or we are talking about selling off the oldest one and keeping 1, and then we would just have 5 altogether. Bids came in pretty good. Brady Truck Equipment was our lowest bidder at $51,624. They do not provide tires, rim, or a camera. Camera sits up on the top of the box looking in it so that the driver knows when the box is empty. Talking to the guys, I don't necessarily know if we need to continue with that or not. But everybody else included except for Brady. So just to make sure apples to apples, I added those as additional county cost. Because Brady is the truck, the actual pup builder. Jim Hawk, they came in at $62,059, and Don's Truck Sales came in at $63,840. I know Don's Truck, they were going to buy the Brady pup and then resell it to us with tires and all this additional equipment on it. So if we would just buy the tires ourselves, it comes in a lot cheaper.
so the jury's still out on the camera?
Yeah, they're still out on the camera, but it's only $160 camera. But
And then it'll be retrofit on there.
right.
You don't have to do that in your department, or what do you?
No, we can definitely put on our own camera. We do our own tires anyway,
Sure,
so it's nothing off, it's nothing really additional
okay,
workload for anything new for our guys to do.
sure. Sounds good.
Um,
Okay, so, we need to have a motion to approve.
I'm surprised John missed it that far.
Well, I know, I was $12,000.
His profit.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's his profit.
He's usually pretty tough.
So, I know he was going to buy the Brady pup. And then whatever he did, put the tires, rims. I'm assuming he doesn't get the government discount on his tires and rims like we do. So,
Also move this bid.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion or further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
outside of that, we are on our department, regular department stuff, we are brush northwest of Dyke and up by Pleasant Valley.
And did you get my email?
Yes,
Okay.
I passed that on to Marty. I
Okay.
have not heard back from him yet.
Okay, all right, and same individual has spoken to Heidi about it, so.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get it addressed,
Well, at least
and I'll let you know what we.
just give them a response at least and.
Yep.
About the rationale there, so that would be great, so.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Anything else were you gonna talk about health insurance or?
Nope. That
Okay,
was all I had. That, I mean, outside of, talking about the, bonding stuff, but
oh, okay, all
that's
right,
at the bottom of your list.
very good.
Any word on negotiations?
Have not heard a word. I was going to email Renee to find out today.
Okay. All right, thank you. Discussion and possible action about the proposed bond issue timelines from Spear Financial.
Morning, everyone. I'm Maggie Berger from Spear. Do you hear me okay?
Yes, we do, Maggie.
Yes.
Thank
Hi there. Thanks for having me on this morning. We are looking at proceeding forward with your timeline for your GO bond sale. This was for the Pioneer Road project. You did do the hearing at $6,600,000 last February 12th. In 2024, you also approved a pre-levy resolution at that time for fiscal year 25, which does mean we need to get the bonds issued here in the next couple, 3 months, so that you can make a payment on June 1st of 2025. You will have money, you're already collecting money in the debt service levy to make that payment. We will adjust whatever the borrowing size is, we'll adjust around that borrowing size so that we meet that $423,000 payment. You can't really have leftover. Now, you might have a couple $1,000s left over in the debt service levy, but we can't have a massive amount left over. Also, our proposed timeline here for the bond issue would be, I kind of start in the middle of our timeline, would be March 3rd to have the bond sale and award. That would be the day in the morning. We would take the bids probably from 10 to 10:30. We would ask that the board would have a meeting about 12:30 or 1 o'clock that day, or you could, maybe go into have your meeting in the morning, adjourn, come back at 12:30, 1 o'clock. We need just a couple of hours to work with bond counsel in between the bond sale itself, and we would do this competitively. So there'd be competitive bids being taken, and then the award where we would be able to come back and have you guys pass all of the necessary resolutions. With a March 3rd bond sale, ahead of that, your February 17th meeting would be the day that you would approve the preliminary official statement. I'll remind you that official statement, that is the time, it's the document that we put out in the market. It's all about the county. It has your financial information, it has debt information, it's got information about the bonds itself. It also has property tax and property tax related information in it. That's what we call disclosure document. It is a document, a product of the county. Spear puts that together. It is reviewed for tax purposes by bond counsel. It is reviewed by the county as well. That document goes out, and that's really why investors say they can bid on your stuff, right? They feel like they know everything that's going on financially in the county. We would have that approved at your February 17th meeting. And just due to the main size of this, $6.6 million, approximately, you could go up to $6.6 million. We would do the ratings call, probably the week of February 10th or the week of February 17th. That call would be with Moody's, where you've had your previous bond ratings with. That call would consist of an hour. It probably would be your county auditor, Alan. We may ask one supervisor to participate. Probably Jeff would also participate on that call, just to answer any questions, which would be 2 or 3 minutes about the project itself. That's about a 1-hour phone call, and we need to have that rating in place before we would be able to sell the bond. So timing wise, that lines up with what we would typically see for a timeline. After the bond sale on March 3rd, 2 weeks later at March 17th date, you would have additional documentation from bond counsel. It'd be the authorizing and the issuance proceedings. And then on April 1st would be the bond closing, no meeting required for that day. That's just the day that the money is all wired into your account. So that's the day that you would receive your bond proceeds. We know, are there any questions kind of about that timeline before we talk really about your borrowing size?
What's the reason for the February 12th public hearing again, Maggie?
No, February 12th was last year, February 12th, 2024.
Oh, that's right,
Sorry.
it says 24.
Yeah, that's why.
right, we don't want to-
No worries. I
Thanks, all
I
questions.
drew a line, but I should have
Oh,
marked
Berlin?
that.
Sorry.
You already took care of that last year.
I was hoping that was already done.
Any questions of Maggie?
I don't believe
The,
so.
o- the only other thing I would talk about, and I'll let Jeff and I'll let Alan kind of chime in here. You have a public hearing amount, not to exceed $6,600,000. You can issue $6,600,000. I know your project came in slightly less than that, less than you were expecting. We can rework we can rework our bond issuance amount to reflect that amount plus cost of issuance, right? Cost of issuance being SPEAR, being bond counsel, being the rating agency, being registrar and paying agent, all that. We absolutely can rework those numbers and put in there for just the amount that you need to borrow, which would be something less than $6,600,000. The public hearing at $6,600,000, I've kind of conveyed to both Jeff and Alan is, if you want to borrow at that amount, we just need to make sure that we're meeting all of the requirements of the public hearing for any projects. And that just really means we held public hearings on road projects that are essential to county government. And what makes them essential is that they are roads that are reflective of what we call economic development or job improvement or wealth improvement. And that's really what makes road projects for counties essential, is that we can't just rework or reconstruct or build a road. That's not going to lead to that economic development. So we're talking usually, we're talking like farm to market type roads. We're talking roads that have maybe businesses on them, are essential to your patrons moving about the county, moving from maybe one economic area to another. So as long as there are other roads, if you wanted to issue at the full $6,600,000, as long as there are the other roads that you're including to spend the dollars on, you really have to do one of those statements to just, I think the engineer did this last year in that February timeframe, just basically stating, we say that this road is economic development. This, repaving this road will help lead our county to, possible job creation, possible wealth increase, things like that. If those are not the types of projects that you have, then I would say we really need to just probably then issue for Pioneer Road at this point in time. But I would say most of the counties that we work with have no problem finding other road projects that could be used in that public hearing or under that public hearing authority. The only other thing I would point out is that from the date you receive the bond proceeds, so about April 1, 2025, we really need to spend those bond proceeds or try to spend those bond proceeds in about a 24-month period. So you're looking at, if you're gonna add additional roads to this project to borrow at more than what the project cost came in at, we're talking we really need to have those dollars spent by about April 1st, 2027. Now that's just an IRS guideline. Because of the size of the issuance, we need to shoot for that 24 to 36 month time frame. Because these are tax exempt bonds, and that just means that you as the borrower will pay your interest, and the people that you pay your interest payments to, they will not claim these bonds as federal income taxable, so they will not have to pay federal income tax on the interest that you pay them. And that's really why the IRS says you need to spend these bond proceeds in about a 24 to 36 month period. So are there any thoughts or questions about what size of the bond issue should be? Whether it should be at the 6.6 million, if it should be a number, something below that, or should it be the amount of the contract for the project, maybe some contingency in there, maybe, and then the cost of issuance added on there as well.
When do you need to know that drop dead figure? on
You know
we
what?
want?
I would say by about middle of January, we need to know that drop dead figure. So we probably got a couple of weeks here if you guys want to talk through that with the engineer, with the county auditor, because we really by about middle of January need to start really getting the official statement out to you guys for review. It'll come out to you about 2.5, 3 weeks before that February 17th date. So we need our office. Our office can put every other ounce of information into that document and just drop in debt service schedules and amounts that you want to borrow. So we absolutely have a couple of weeks here, but that's probably something you guys should be talking about sooner rather than later.
Well, I, for one, think we need to, as a board, talk about that with our engineer and see what he has in mind for projects.
Yep.
I'm certain there are other projects that need to be done in this county. So, yeah, I think we need to spend time to discuss that.
The actual cost of the Pioneer Road.
The actual cost
Four.
came in at
4.9.
4.9.
Mhm.
If bare minimum be 5.2.
What was that?
5.2 is be bare minimum to cover any contingencies of overrun, project overrun.
Yeah. If the timeline looks okay to you folks today, we'll go ahead and proceed forward with the timeline. And then again, I can follow up the first couple of weeks here in January. And again, if Jeff or Alan need me to run schedules, provide to you guys, we can do that. The $423,000 amount that you levied this year, I would say you're going to be able to levy at that amount at the 6.6 million for the duration of the bond issue. So I don't anticipate that the debt service levy is going to need to go up if you issue at the $6.6 million. It might even be able to come down a little bit. But also the March 3rd date, the reason we're doing this is so that we get this into your fiscal year 26 budget as a real number for property tax purposes. So if there are no questions and everyone's okay, we can proceed forward with this timeline and then follow up in like I said, it may be 1 or 2 weeks to have a discussion about the amount that you want to borrow.
And I don't think we're able to make a decision on that today because it's not depicted on the agenda today. It's just the timeline that is on the agenda. So obviously that'll be a consideration for a future meeting.
Sounds good.
So Maggie, if we know have a decision by the 13th of January, would that be?
Yeah, that would be sufficient. Yes.
Okay.
I think we should shoot for that because we have two new supervisors coming on board, and I would like them to be a part of that discussion after January 1. So what date should we have that on the agenda? The 6th or the 13th? Are we meeting? What's our first meeting date in January?
The
2nd. Then would everyone be comfortable discussing this on the 6th? You guys?
Yeah.
Let's shoot for that then, why don't we? And we can get an answer to Maggie
Sounds
prior
good.
to the 13th even maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
That sounds great.
All right, is there a motion to approve the proposed bond issuance timeline from Spirit Financial?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or further questions of Maggie or anyone? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie.
Have a very Merry Christmas.
You too.
Okay, we have resolution 22-2425 regarding retirement and COBRA payments. So I believe you want to have all the funds go, have the conduit, the auditor's office done by ACH like our other payments. Is that-
Yes, that's kind of how EBS set up the process. They wanted to change it midstream.
Okay. All right. And everyone's privy to this document, sent electronically as well as passed around today. Is there someone that would like to introduce this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any questions or discussion? Would you call the roll?
Yes, Heidi,
yes,
Mark,
Yes,
Barb,
Yes,
Lucas,
Yes.
and Vic.
Yes.
motion carried. The resolution passed. Okay, resolution 23, regarding ARPA overage and the law enforcement center. And that details all the, detail regarding the ARPA spending. Is there someone that would like to introduce that resolution?
move to introduce.
Okay, is there a second?
second,
Okay, and, that's something we need to act on before December 31st, I believe.
Yeah, just outlines, in all of the previous resolutions, we had amounts not to exceed. And since a few of the projects came in over, I thought it was best to have paper, have documentation to support that. So Erica drew this up.
Very good. Any further discussion on that? Would you call the roll, Alan?
Yes, Heidi,
Yes,
Mark,
yes,
Barb,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
and Vic.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll continue with any updates on board and commission meetings.
and nothing.
I attended the Grundy Development Alliance meeting. Ryan Bateman is going back on that board. Kevin Weedle was on the board and he is, relocating to work for Unity Point in Dubuque. So Ryan will be going back on the board. They did relate that the project that received the Catalyst grant in Dyke is experiencing some delays. The coffee shop will open in the first quarter and the upper story housing in the second quarter of the year. Jeff had his first meeting with the Highway 20 Corridor Marketing Group, and he said it was a very good meeting. They have a very good facilitator that they have obtained. They met the child care task force that came out of a concern I had with lack of ability to find employees at our church's daycare. He's got a group of the daycare folks for the two counties. They are going to be using they found a facilitator to take care of any funds. It has to be a 501c3 host, so it'll be the community foundation. There's a initiative in the state to work on this area because it has been determined that lack of childcare is indeed an economic development barrier across the state to attracting people to move to Iowa. So there may be some matching funds available through the state. There's 11 other counties that are working on this concern. And so they will be the funds that they raise, and they'll be approaching business and industry to donate to this fund. And the goal is to increase the wages of childcare workers by $2 an hour. And so he feels like good progress is being made, and it'll be especially helpful if the state does some matching. So he did some outreach on the funding programs for businesses, presenting to employers. There is a meeting coming up, Opportunity Workers Career Fair, that's coming up on January 15th from 2 to 4 p.m. And that's at the Waterloo Center for the Arts, and that's going to be put on by economic development people in the area. He's working on trying to find expansion sites for the Grundy County Industrial Park since it's pretty much full. And there's been an increase in leads that the state is getting from outside entities to bring businesses and industry to Iowa. He's working on the visitors guides that usually go out in the first part of the year. And let's see. There's a Cedar Valley Regional Partnership that he is going to Chicago to try to attract business to this area. I think that's pretty much it. It's a good meeting per usual. Anything else?
I did walk by the, night coffee shop yesterday.
Did you?
And
Coming
they've done a real nice job on the exterior. Looks like they've got some nice big windows in there. I did peek in said window
Uh-huh.
and they got a long ways to go on the interior.
So, do you think the first quarter is optimistic?
Well, it might be. But they've got a nice, some neat steps, a new handicap ramp, so it's a nice addition to that old building.
Good. One thing I neglected to mention is, Jeff is gonna be more aggressive about, trying to get some contributions from business and industry in the county to help with their activities. He's been calling on all the business and industry individually and asking for some help towards the marketing efforts that he makes, so, I think he does a very good job on our behalf and is very, even-handed in terms of doing as much work for Grundy County as he does for Butler County. And I usually don't mention the things that are going on in Butler County because that's not our primary concern, so, okay.
Because the other Central Iowa juvenile detention, we kind of talked about that earlier. It basically gets down to were the 28E agreements filed and approved correctly. And there are five original organizers of Central Iowa, and they are questioning the legality of all new members after, I believe it was after 2011. And we being one of the newest members in 24, they don't know if we can vote or not, or if we're even a member. So we're gonna have to wait on legal opinion, I guess.
So does the Hardin County attorney make that legal opinion or the attorney for some of the counties that are signatories to that agreement?
Well, it was filed by Hardin County
Okay,
on that.
so I take it those counties, those 5 counties are at issue with some of the things that are taking place?
Yeah, there's a disagreement with Tony Reed, how he's operated and has he filed the 28E agreements properly, and have they been approved by the current members that were authorized to vote. So it's gonna be a little bit of the going back into history, it looks like, but we do not have a December meeting. Our next meeting will be, I believe it's the 4th Friday in January, so maybe we'll have some resolution by then. So it's kind of up in the air, been interesting.
Yeah, so, little did you know.
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
Kyle Duran at Intercog issued a email on Friday. He's the one that applied for the CAT grant for Nick Buseman and the Pioneer Trail Project. That CAT grant was awarded in the tune of $214,000. That's good news for Nick and his group.
Good to know. Awesome. Anything else to come before us this morning? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.